Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Brain. Let me turn my volume up and make sure we are good to go. Ooh, that may be a little loud. Hopefully that is good though. Try to make sure. Alright, there. We're going to keep it at that volume level. Sometimes when I hear the little thing that it's turned on, I have to make sure it's loud enough for you guys. Because every once in a while I have noticed it sounds fine to me when I'm recording and it sounds fine when I'm editing, but I get a couple comments that say maybe my volume's a little low, so I'm trying to be better at just addressing that and trying to keep it at a, I guess, more optimal level. But today we have our coffee, we have our books and our reviews, and you have me completely makeup free and just my glasses on because today was Sunday and I didn't feel like doing a much of anything. I think I spent some time cleaning out like my drawers in my dresser, trying to get rid of some old clothes, and then I went through a whole bunch of my like miscellaneous electronics and figured out I'm going to probably get rid of some of those as well, because I'm in the hunt for a potential place to live. So very, very excited, crossing fingers on all of that. But let's dive into the book because y'all don't really care about what I'm doing outside of this. I don't assume. I don't really know. But we are talking about The Seven Miracles of Beatrix, Holland by Rachael Herron. And I will just go ahead and say that Rachael spells her name correctly because that's also how I spell my name, with an A-E-L on the end. So always nice to see a fellow Rachael with the A-E-L. I guess it's just the way my mom thought it should be spelled, and that's the way nobody spells it right. They always put just the E-L. But anyway, moving on, let us talk about this book and the summary. Most visitors to Scary Island see only its lush greenery, picturesque cemetery, and quaint downtown. Yet generations of local women know that on Scary, their benevolent witchcraft is at its most powerful. I was going to say potent, but that word is actually powerful. Beatrice Bernard doesn't believe in magic. She definitely doesn't believe the predictions of the celebrity psychic who claims that she will experience 7 miracles and soon after she will die. There we go. Then she discovers her husband is cheating on her. B flees to Scary Island off the Pacific Northwest in desperate need of solitude, taking her husband's birthday vacation by herself. Immediately upon arrival, she finds herself on the line as a rogue woodchopper blade almost kills her, and her survival feels like a miracle. Then things get more miraculous when she discovers her twin sister Cordelia, who she never knew about, and her mother Astrid, who supposedly died when Beatrice was only 2. Astrid and Cordelia reveal that Beatrice, given the name Beatrix, is an immensely powerful witch who can commune with the dead, like all the local Holland family witches. When their twin magic is joined, it shines like a beacon to the Velleman family, whose malevolent spirits are locked in an age-old struggle for magical dominance over the Hollands. Beatrice doesn't know what to believe, but she begins to fear that the 7 predicted miracles may occur and that her imminent death will rip her away from her recently rediscovered family. Beatrice resolves to learn everything she can about her own power in the hopes of saving herself. But when her niece Mina goes missing, Bee's own life suddenly seems much less important. Beatrice must join forces with her mother and sister to save Mina, even if she dies in the process. It's about 400 pages in paperback. I did have the audiobook. I want to say it was somewhere around 10 hours and 45 minutes, something around that. And pretty easy to get through, but we'll get to that in a minute. It is expected publication of August 19th, 2025. So, diving straight in, it does look as though Rachael Herron has written quite a few books. She's got 23 to her Goodreads credit and says she is a knitter with a capital K, and she reads way more than she's ever thought about exercising. So, hey, that's completely fair. Although I do try to get in my exercises, I have not been doing great this week. I have had terrible jaw pain from TMJ, which is triggering migraines, which is not fun to work out when you have a migraine. So, with all of that being said, this has just been a little bit of a lackluster week when it comes to getting my fitness in, but I do enjoy it when I get the chance. Now, on to the book itself. I can see that some people were maybe not thrilled about this book, and I think perhaps I wasn't certain what I was getting into when I picked it up. But overall, there is a little bit of a sense of practical magic, perhaps. Now, I didn't read the book, I only watched the movie way back in the day. And there is a little bit of cozy witchiness into it as well, but it really is more about family, of course, found family as well. These miracles, so to speak. So there is a sense of both magical realism as well as just magic slash maybe witchiness. And there's a bit of drama as well. So all of that, I wasn't really certain because this particular person, and I think this is probably one of the reasons, like I picked it up because the cover is pink and I was like, oh, 7 Miracles of Beatrix Holland. What are we getting ourselves into? I didn't give myself any preconceived notions other than thinking it might be whimsical and cozy. It's a little bit more serious almost in its content. And I will say, I'll go ahead and insert my thought here, that I thought the narrator did okay. But there were so many points during this narration that I really thought the narrator was going to, like the way her voice kind of quivered, I thought perhaps she may cry at points that didn't feel that emotional. And some of the voices that she gave some of the other characters felt a little flippant, and like I don't know if that character came off more flippant than they really were written. I'm not sure. So those are just a few of my thoughts on the narration of the book. Content itself wise, again, I thought it was going to be a little bit more lighthearted, maybe a little bit more humorous about finding her way through magic with these 7 miracles. However, I think the biggest crux is that the seriousness lies with the fact that she is supposedly going to die in a short period of time. So 2 different psychics who do not know each other, at least not like personally to have spoken about Beatrice, both kind of meet Beatrice in random moments and tell her she is going to experience 7 miracles and then she's going to die. And they're not sure. They see the number 1, but they don't know. They know it's not 1 day, and they know it's not like 1 year, but it's potentially like somewhere in between. Like 1 week sounds a little bit short. 1 month perhaps, but we don't fully know what the 1 means. So there's a lot of speculation around that, especially as the miracles start building. So Beatrice, she was told by her father when she was younger that her mother died of cancer. And so Beatrice always kind of mourned this mother that she never knew. And so she believed it. But she also, when she was younger, she had this mirror in her closet where she could go in, and there was a little girl that looked just like her on the inside of the mirror, but she felt like she could talk to this little girl. And then one day her father broke that mirror and she was unable to continue doing that. So miracle number 1 happens as Beatrice gets to this island of Scary. And I'm not saying scary like Scary. I'm saying scary like Skerry. I guess like the Sperry shoes, but with the sk. So that's how I'm pronouncing it. I've got dice over here that I am hitting with my elbow. Well, so she goes to this island. She takes a ferry. She goes to this island. And while she's on the ferry, another unknown psychic to her, setting up a little table, tells Beatrice the same thing, kind of word for word, that she will experience 7 miracles and then she will die. And again, this number 1 is kind of associated with it, but it's not 1 day and it's not 1 year. So there's still something about that. And so Beatrice is kind of freaked out a little bit. She's like what? I'm going to die. Do I? So she takes herself to the doctor, and she seems perfectly fine. Everything comes back normal. But the first miracle happens when she is at like this coffee shop, and this she I think she either trips or she bends down or she falls or something, and this blade almost like takes her out. Well, at first she's just really startled, and she's like, what? And then she kind of like, everybody's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she kind of realizes, oh my gosh, like that could have ended me. So that's considered miracle number one. Number two is while she's on this island, she finds a family that she never knew she had. She finds her twin sister Cordelia and her mother Astrid. She also finds her niece Mina. And so Beatrice kind of falls completely in love with Mina. This is a girl like after her own heart. She's just absolutely fun, witty, whimsical, artistic, just all the best things. So Beatrice is enamored by this lovely little girl. And of course, she's so eager to learn about Cordelia. She never knew she even had a sister, and she thought her mother was dead. So come to find out that Astrid had taken Cordelia and just left Beatrice with her dad. And so her dad knew the whole time. Astrid knew the whole time. Kind of very Parent Trap without like telling each girl. But in Parent Trap, they don't seem as mad as Beatrice and Cordelia, because Beatrice and Cordelia at this point in the book are about 45 years old. They've missed a lifetime of getting to know each other. Where in the Parent Trap, I think they're more like 10, 11, something like that. They're pretty young, so it's much more of an adventure for them rather than realizing how much time has been lost. So both Cordelia and Beatrice are just angry at their parents. And Astrid, the mother, is she seems kind of like one of those evil witches. Just her attitude is so crappy. But you also get a conversation later in the book. I want to say somewhere around like 70%, maybe 65, where Beatrice is talking to her dad. And they're talking on the beach. And the dad is not really... He thought he was doing the right thing by taking Beatrice and like not letting her have that exposure to her mom. But of course, Beatrice is adamant that he messed up. Like she tells him straight up. She's like, no, you did the wrong thing. And I really liked that conversation. I liked that she was so blunt with him to not let him like worm out of it and try to play victim or something like that. But anyway, second miracle is that she finds a whole family that she didn't know she had. Third miracle, I think, is, well, she's learning that she has some magical abilities. And so at one particular point, her and Mina, her niece that's about 15, they're playing with not a Ouija board, but trying to figure out what Mina's witchy gift is. And turns out she's really great at automatic writing, almost too good at automatic writing. And at one particular session when they're trying it, she writes something down that ultimately says, run to the tree house, get them out, run far away, and then run farther, and something like that. And in that moment, her and Mina take off, find the treehouse because they know exactly which one it is, because apparently there's really only one on this little particular island, and they save 3 little girls right before the tree gets struck by lightning. So these are some really interesting little miracles. I forget what the fourth one specifically... Oh, it's saving a little boy. No, that might have been magic. I don't know if that was magic or if that was the fourth miracle, but she saved a little boy from getting hit in the street, and I can't remember if that was considered magic or miracle. But then another one was that her and her dad, they're having this really heartfelt conversation, the one where they're really bringing everything out, and Beatrice remembers that when they were on the beach, maybe not this particular beach, but a different beach somewhere in California or something like that, that when her father and her stepmother, Naya, when she was younger, she they all threw bottles, messages in bottles, into the water. And of course, this is probably 40 years ago by this point. I'm not sure. They were a lot younger. And anyway, as they're on this beach, she kind of trips in the waves and ultimately finds the bottle from her stepmother, who has passed about 2 years previously. And she kind of still mourns the loss of her stepmother, because her stepmother was a really wonderful lady. But anyway, so that's just a couple of the miracles. I don't want to kind of tell you all the miracles, but that's just kind of setting up the scene for you. And then it does talk about how Mina goes missing. Well, she's again a witchy girl, and she is 15, and she misses her dad like a lot. But her mom, Cordelia, won't try to connect her with him, won't try to give her any closure. And Mina was too young when he passed to really remember a ton of him. So she just wants a message. With all this magic around her, she really wants just a message from him that he approves of who she is now. And so Beatrice is on the fence about helping her, because one of the times that she tried to kind of maybe automatic write for her, she something dark tried to come through. Well, now Mina kind of knows the trick, because Beatrice told her what she envisions when she automatic writes, and now Mina wants to try it and gets a little carried away with the magic. But see, and I thought this book was really pretty good. I, again, didn't know it was going to be maybe as dramatic or as somber as it kind of comes across. It is much more of a witchy drama rather than maybe lighthearted and cozy. So I guess if you pick this up and you think that it's going to be lighthearted and cozy, you may want to just kind of maybe set your expectations more towards the somber mode, because I think a lot of that is also maybe what I'm seeing is that people just didn't think that they didn't know what they thought this story didn't know what it wanted to be. And I can kind of agree, but I think the author was trying to keep it lighthearted while talking about difficult things, and that's just how it felt to me. Now, of course, everyone's going to read everything a little bit differently, and that's okay. Sometimes it's going to be for you, and sometimes it perhaps won't hit quite as well, but that's okay. That's why there are so many books available for each of us. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. I'm not going to tell you what happens in the end. You'll have to figure that out for yourself if you decide to pick this book up. But one day I am going to start my Patreon, and then maybe I will start spoiling the endings if you guys are wanting to hear those sorts of things. But until next time, thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I will see you all on the next page. Have a great one. Bye.